Hello, my name is Sarah Seitz. I'm a Senior Academic Advisor in the Academic Advising and Exploration Center. This presentation is called Academic Advising Jumpstart. I encourage you to have a pen and paper ready to take notes. You may also want to take some pictures of some slides that have important dates, and I also ask that you have a copy of your Academic Advising report handy. You may be asking yourself why you have to listen to this presentation. Well, as a college student, it's important to realize that academic advising is just as important as attending classes and studying for exams. You need to know what classes you're taking, why you need to take them, how they fit into your degree, and ultimately it is your responsibility to take the lead in your education. So that's kind of why we have this presentation available for all new students here at Whitewater. The Academic Advising and Exploration Center opened in 2003, and it was actually an initiative from students. Students really wanted better advising services, so we delivered. Our main office is located on the second floor of Roseman, and this past year we just opened a satellite location in Highland, room number 1200. Our office hours are Monday through Friday from 8 to 4:30, and we always have a walk-in advisor available in the Roseman office. So if you have any quick or urgent questions, be sure to stop by and someone will always be available to help you. The contact information for the Advising Center is listed on the screen. You can always email the general email advising@uww.edu. If you need to schedule any appointments or change your current appointment, you can call the appointment line at 262-472-4646. You should know that academic advisors are very busy people. We have about 150 to 250 students on our caseload every semester, so our calendars do fill up quickly. The main Roseman office walk-in hours are listed on the screen, 8 to 4:30, Monday through Friday, and the Highland walk-in hours are a little bit more limited from 10 to 2, Monday through Friday. So why do you have to meet with an academic advisor? Well, there are a number of reasons. So during our meetings with you, we want to make sure that we get to know you, that we work on establishing some goals and kind of planning out for your future. We want to make sure that you are doing okay with the transition to college and adjusting to kind of this new lifestyle. We want to help you learn how to read your academic advising report, because that really tells you whether you can graduate or not. We will also make sure you know how to utilize WINS and how to register for your classes. We also want to make sure you know all the requirements for your major and your minor, and of course, kind of looking into the future, who you're going to be working with in the future. Your role as a student. So students also have certain expectations during this advising process. So all academic advisors are going to expect that you check your UW Whitewater email on a daily basis. I mentioned earlier that academic advisors are very busy people, and we often have appointments back to back to back. So it's really important that you come on time and that you are prepared for every meeting. And again, like I said earlier, making sure that you are responsible for your educational plan. Advising is a two-way street. So just as you have expectations, so does your academic advisor. So the academic advisor's role is to really help you towards achieving your short-term and your long-term goals. Assist in understanding the advising report, listening and respecting your values and choices, and as I said earlier, getting to know you as a person, and of course being available to answer questions via email, phone calls, and in person. FERPA. FERPA stands for the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. This just states that since you are 18 and officially an adult, your educational records are now private. So if any parent or family member calls your academic advisor and wants some information on your classes or your grades or what you're enrolled in, by law, we cannot disclose that information. However, if you do want your advisor to have this information, if you want your parents to have this information, you can certainly fill out a disclosure form, and you just want to make sure you talk with your advisor at your appointment to fill that out. So we always encourage you as a student to have very open communication with your parents and your families. So you have 2 required appointments in the Academic Advising and Exploration Center. The first is called pre-advised. This is in addition to Jumpstart, in addition to this presentation right now. So you want to figure out when yours is scheduled. It should be scheduled sometime in September or October, and you schedule this appointment at SOAR. It was the last thing that you did before you went home. The advised appointment will be in October or November, a little bit later in the semester, and it will be 30 minutes, and this will be to discuss your spring 2019 classes. So we'll take a look at your advising report a little bit more in detail. We'll plan out your course of action for the spring, and then make sure you're set with registration on WINS. Our no-show policy. If you cannot attend your academic advising appointment, you must notify your academic advisor directly before your appointment. Okay? If there is no courtesy call, we will need to reschedule you after the students that are already on your advisor's calendar. So this could delay your registration. Remember that you do need the 2 appointments, pre-advise and advise, prior to your registration. So you could register late if you do miss your appointments. How do you become prepared for your appointments? Well, you need to bring a certain number of things. You always want to bring your academic advising report and make sure it's an updated copy. So if you haven't printed one yet at the beginning of the semester, make sure you do that and make sure it lists your fall 2018 courses. So make sure you bring that and your windows to Whitewater. We are going to use this as a kind of an advising folder, making sure you are organized and keeping all of your materials together. And then, of course, any questions that you may have. If you need assistance in finding your academic advising report, you would want to log into WINS. And on the left-hand side, on the drop-down menu, you can see where the arrow points to your AAR. So you'll click on that. You'll click on the arrows, and then it will come to another screen, and you will click on the View as a PDF button, and then you will go ahead and print it. Just be sure to turn off the pop-up blockers. You can also see on your WINS account on the right-hand side that you'll have any holds. So the most common type of hold is going to be an academic advising hold, and of course that's going to be from your advisor. And we will remove that hold once we see you for those 2 appointments. Important dates. These dates come out at the beginning of every semester. So this is something that you'll want to take note of, either write these dates down or take a picture of them. The first one is the last day to add. So this is the last day that you can make any changes to your schedule in terms of changing times or changing teachers or changing classes entirely. The last day to add is Tuesday, September 11th. The last day to drop without a W is September 17th. So this means that if you drop a course before the 17th, it will be completely wiped off your record and there will be no indication that you were ever enrolled in the course. So if you can drop by the 17th, that's ideal. However, there is a second drop deadline called the last day to drop with a W, and that is not till October 26th. So that would be your final day to drop. So if you're going through the first 2 months of a class and you really haven't done well on exams and you don't see yourself succeeding in the course, then it would be in your best interest to drop by October 26th. And then instead of a grade on your transcript, you would receive a W, which just indicates that you withdrew from the course. A W is going to be better than an F. A W does not have any effect on your GPA. If any of you are enrolled in 8-week courses, some of the more fun physical educational classes are only 8 weeks, and the second 8-week classes begin on October 29th. Spring 2019 registration begins for freshmen on November 28th and runs through the 30th. So every freshman will be assigned a specific date and time, and we'll kind of discuss that more with you individually during your appointment. So again, make sure you take a moment to pause here and jot down these dates or take a photo. All right, just some resources to cover with you. The undergraduate course catalog is located on the home page. This is no longer a printed document, it's all online. So you can see there where you can find the link to the course catalog. And this is basically like a student handbook. It lists all of the campus policies and procedures and rules and regulations. And then it's also going to be divided into the different colleges, talking about the different majors and minors and requirements and course descriptions. So it's a really great tool and resource. It's a searchable document, so it's easy to find stuff. So make sure you check that out at some point. One of the things that as academic advisors we really stress to students is creating a study schedule. So we have seen that successful students are going to be following more of a regimented weekly schedule like listed on the screen. So this might take you a few weeks to kind of establish and kind of get into, your new routine here at Whitewater. But you want to kind of make notes and make time for obviously your classes and when is the best time of the day to do some studying. Where are you going to study? Do you need some tutoring for any of your classes? So looking at maybe going to the new Success Center over in Laurentide, or kind of looking at spending some time in the library a couple times a week. Also kind of plan out your meals. If you have a job, if you want to have some time for some clubs or organizations or intramurals or getting some exercise or some TV shows, all of that is important to kind of add to your weekly schedule. Okay, now we have a short video from a student talking about kind of creating a study schedule.
My name is Savannah Bays. I am from Elmhurst, Illinois, and I'm a senior at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. My major is early childhood education and special education with a minor in ESL.
Hello, I'm Cole Pino. I'm a junior here, majoring in English literature, minoring in history, and I'm from Clintonville, Wisconsin.
I highly recommend that you check your email at least once a day, if not more than once. If most of you have smartphones, I definitely recommend hooking it up to your email. That way you can just read them as they come to your phone. Just make sure that you realize that grades do matter and that even your freshman year will count towards your cumulative GPA. So don't let college get the best of you. Making friends and socializing is obviously important, but make sure that you're spending like 15 to 20 hours a week on homework and studying for your classes. Obviously everyone organizes in a different way, but as an education major myself, organization is so important. I'm definitely the type of person that loves making lists. So for my planner, I would put this class that I had and the time that it was for, and then I would put homework underneath it. And then I would also put my work schedule in here and any tournaments that I had for lacrosse. I also enjoy color coding. Just make sure that one of my biggest tips would be writing down your due dates and exams once you get your syllabus so that you can stay organized that way.
Some great ways to stay on top of your coursework at UW-Whitewater is being able to utilize our tutoring center. You may not always have questions on some of your homework, but I highly encourage you to go if you do develop any questions. We also have a great program here called supplemental instruction. Supplemental instruction is used if you really not understanding the course material. What happens is a student will hold an outside study session for you to be able to go to, and I utilize this for both my biology classes as well as my math classes because I sometimes didn't really understand the material as it was being presented to me. But if you go to these SI sessions, it's definitely a lot more one-on-one, and I think it's a great way to be able to develop and master that material yourself. If you're good at a discipline, I also encourage you to become an SI. I'm an SI as well for history courses as well as writing courses here on our campus. And I think that some students don't really realize that even though you're an SI, you can still struggle. Like I mentioned, I do struggle with math and science, but I can definitely help fellow Warhawks succeed and be successful in courses such as, history or that writing piece. Another great place to go for help is actually to your professors. Here at Whitewater, most of our professors do have open office hours. I would definitely suggest going there, sitting down with them. If you need to talk about course material, that's a great place to do it. They can work with you individually, maybe a lot more in-depth than they could in the classroom. Even though our class sizes are small, it's just definitely great to be able to work more one-on-one with your professors. In addition, you not only have to talk about course material, but you can actually develop personal connections with your professors here, and that's something I really like. I used many different professors as letters of recommendation so I can obtain on-campus positions. So I highly encourage you to do the same. If you have any questions, never be afraid to ask.
All right, another thing that you'll want to do as a student here at UW-Whitewater is get involved. So on the screen you can see a number of different opportunities that you can do to get involved, such as study abroad, doing a service learning project, getting an on-campus job, doing some undergraduate research, participating in an internship, or joining a club or organization. We really encourage every student to pick at least one of these things, if not multiple. And studies show that students who do participate in these activities do a better job at integrating their classroom learning with actually more of the outside real world. It keeps you more engaged and motivated as a student, as a college student, and you are more likely to get higher grades and to actually stay in college. And now we have one other video for you.
I do implore you to kind of find a spot here in our college campus, join different organizations. You don't have to have it be related to your major, but we also do have many organizations that are here to kind of help develop professional skills in any major that you may choose. In addition, I highly encourage you to think of on-campus jobs. I do hold a few positions myself. I'm a student assistant in the admissions office. I'm also a supplemental instructor, and I'm a member of Hawk Squad, so some of you might remember seeing me. Before you do join all of those organizations, though, I do suggest that you take a couple weeks here to kind of establish roots in Whitewater. You don't want to be joining different organizations and then kind of fall behind on your classwork, right? Because academics are one of the most important parts of that college experience. Grades matter, never forget that, but also try to have the best college experience as well.
All right, there's some upcoming fairs happening at UW-Whitewater. So again, you'll want to make note of these dates. The Global Experiences Fair is Tuesday, September 18th. This will kind of highlight all of our programs in which you can study abroad. They have different programs if you want to do some student teaching abroad. There's some travel study programs that are a little bit more short term, kind of at the end of each semester. So there's lots of great opportunities, lots of reps from each of the different programs and countries will be here as well. The involvement fair was something that was mentioned in one of the videos. This is by far one of the biggest events on campus, and it's all outside, so you can't miss it, on Wednesday, September 12th, right kind of by the UC and the Fountain and Roseman there. And all of the different student clubs and organizations will have tables, so you can kind of peruse through them and kind of see what we have and what, you know, kind of is interest for you and your major, or for just as a general interest. And then our Hot Career Fair is happening on October 3rd. And that will have different businesses and companies here. Even though you're only a freshman, it still might be a good idea to attend and kind of talk to some recruiters and some representatives and ask them questions on what you need to do to make yourself marketable in the next 4 years, or what skills are you really looking for in new college grads. So make note of these dates. All right, next we're going to switch gears a little bit. So if you do have your academic advising report handy, it would be a good time to get that out. And also make sure you have a pen or pencil, because I'll have you take some notes while we go through this. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our general education requirements. So everyone has to take these, right? They provide every student at Whitewater with that broad knowledge base and really kind of the skills that you need as a college student and beyond. There's been a lot of national surveys and statistics that we've looked at, and we can say that employers and hiring managers, when they're hiring new college graduates, they are looking for kind of 3 key skills, and those are critical thinking, communication, and then problem solving. So you kind of want to think about, what are some things that you're going to do in the next, 4 or 5 years here that you can kind of build those skills, strengthen them, besides the classroom, what else can help you develop those skills. So we'll start off with the first page of your academic advising report. You can see on the top it lists your name and ID number, and of course then your major and your college and your area of study. Your roadmap is considered, your academic advising report is considered your roadmap to graduation. So essentially this is going to tell us whether or not you can graduate. The key to reading this is looking for the items in bold print. Okay, so anything that is listed in bold means that you still need to satisfy the requirement. You should also know that this is a live document. So as soon as you make any changes to your schedule, it's going to update online immediately. You can see here that the magic number for graduating is 120 credits. So that is the total number that you need, and it does keep track of that for you. And underneath that there it lists your GPA. All right, so the first Roman numeral number 2 that we want to look at are your test scores. So we place you into English and math based on your ACT score for English and based on your math placement score for math. So you can see listed there what level you are placed into. So you can go ahead and circle the course that is listed. And just keep in mind that these are based on your own test scores, so levels are going to vary from your friends or your neighbors. All right, following along, find Roman numeral number 3, communication and calculation skills. So this continues with your English requirement. So again, whatever English that you're placed into should be listed here, and every student is required to take English 100 or 101, and then English 102. English 105 is for honors students. So if you are in the honors program, you can certainly elect to take that. Com 110 is also required. This is our intro to speech, intro to human communication, but Com 110 is usually taken more as a sophomore. Letter B, you can see your calculation skills are listed, and you have a number of choices there with what math that you want to take. The math class that you'll want to take will really vary based on what your major is, so you want to make sure that you talk to your academic advisor and make sure that you're in the correct math. So English, math, and communication courses are obviously going to strengthen your communication skills, both written, both orally, verbally, helping you to persuade and influence others, helping you to learn how to analyze and quantify data and edit and reports and things. All right, Roman numeral number 4, university requirements. The first heading is quantitative and technical reasoning. So these are more of your science and math requirements. So every student must take one GL course, which stands for General Lab Science, and then one GM course, which is considered a non-lab science. So you also need to make sure that you are minimally enrolled in at least Math 139 or 141 or waived from math in order to take science courses. You have a variety of options for your science, so those are all listed on the screen, but again, based on your major, one might be more recommended than the other. All right, cultural heritages and communities. So these are considered your Gen Ed core classes. They are the ones that are labeled as Gen Ed. So you are most likely enrolled in at least one of these for your first semester of college. Gen Ed 390, number 2 there you'll see, requires junior standing. So 60 credits, you're not able to take that until you're a junior. And then also listed the last one, you can see that you have a choice there of taking either Gen Ed 140 or 120, so just making sure that you're choosing between one of those. So essentially you have 4 requirements here. Letter D, physical health and well-being. So all of our students are required to take personal health and fitness for life. So this is just a 1-credit class. It is usually taken online. If you are a veteran or have served in the military, this requirement is waived for you. Letter E, electives. All of our students are required to take a minimum of 8 credits of electives. There are a number of codes, such as GA, GE, GH, etc., and those are what designate courses as electives. So there's tons of different electives. We really encourage students to take classes in different subjects and kind of explore different areas. That's kind of the beauty of college, is that you get to kind of pick and choose. So a lot of those types of courses would count as electives. A lot of you are also enrolled in the New Student Seminar. You can see that towards the bottom of your screen. That also counts as an elective as well. And then the last Gen Ed, Roman numeral number 5, is called U.S. Racial and Ethnic Diversity. And every student must take one diversity course prior to graduation, and they are labeled as DV courses. So this can be taken at any time. And again, there's a variety of options to fulfill this requirement. So that is the end of the general education program. Next on your advising report, it would list your specific college and then your major requirements and your minor requirements if you have any. The last page of your academic advising report will list the course history, which box, which you can see on the screen. So it will list all of the courses that you've taken and all of your grades that you've had. So this is just a nice way to kind of summarize the past couple semesters that you've had, and it's also a great place to kind of check if you have any AP credits or IB credits or transfer credits or kind of any other incoming credits that maybe you don't have from Whitewater. They would be listed on the top here. All right, so as we're concluding this presentation, we just want to make sure that you double check when your pre-advised appointment is. So you could check a number of different ways. You could check your email or your Outlook calendar. Your advisor has certainly sent you an invite for that appointment. When you were at SOAR, you wrote down the appointment on the last page of your Windows to Whitewater. And then if you still can't find it, you can always stop by or call the advising center, and we can assist you in finding the date and time. A couple other things, just as reminders, there are a few other things that you need to do as a freshman. You've hopefully heard about Career Locker. We gave you information about that at your SOAR this summer. So if you haven't logged in and kind of finished some of those assessments, you'll want to make sure to do those. If you haven't done that, we can always set you up with a workshop through the Advising Center in Roseman. You also should have been getting email information about TechQuest and Campus Clarity, and both of those are kind of required orientations, trainings about technology, about sexual assault, making healthy choices. So just make sure you're aware of those and not kind of overlooking those emails. And then the last kind of thing that we have is just kind of a fun Warhawk family feud. So last spring semester we surveyed about 1,300 Warhawks, and we asked them, what is the most meaningful piece of advice you would give to a new Warhawk? So I want you to think about what 5 words were actually used the most in the answer to this question. So, survey says, question was the number 5, advisor was number 4, time, make, and the number 1 word was class. So if you think about that a little bit further, you can see that you want to make sure that you do your homework, ask questions, talking to your professors, ask questions to your RA, to your advisor, to all those different people that are here to help you. As I just stated, reaching out to your advisor, making sure that you know their email and their contact information, that you're putting the advising appointments as kind of more of a top priority during your semester here. Time, making sure that you manage your time and that you look for ways of scheduling your time. When times get tough or hard, making sure you reach out to those different people and get some help or get some questions answered. Make. So this is a one that you can interpret in a couple different ways. Making plans to study with a friend, or making sure that you are getting involved in meeting new people and that you are using all your resources, making a study plan, etc. And then, of course, class, right? Go to class, taking your classes seriously, studying for your tests, not just showing up to class, but really engaging in your class and answering questions and having those discussions. So I think if you follow some of this advice, I think that you will certainly be a successful Warhawk.